How was that? I was having such fun talking backstage now with the people that you're going to hear from now that I was slightly shocked to have to come to speak to you, but I mustn't hog them. You are about to be in for such a treat. I can't wait for you. We're going to bring up Panasonic to the stage. Please join me in welcoming Takehiro Ikeda and Rowan Williams. They are going to come here to talk about the power of design for business transformation. You are in for a session.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our presentation this afternoon. I just noticed, am I meant to have a clicker? I think I'm meant to have some sort of tool to navigate these presentation slides. I can't quite augment this from my brain. Let me just see. Okay, let's go again. Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, as I said, we are absolutely delighted to be here today representing Panasonic. It's also a pleasure to welcome you all here to listen to our presentation today, to the World Design Congress, to Design Council as well. My name is Rowan Williams. I'm the creative director of Panasonic Design in London, and joined today by Takehiro Ikeda, who is the director of Panasonic Design London too. So as I said, even though that we are here from Panasonic, we are very much representing Panasonic Design. And we're really excited today to hopefully share with you a number of different topics over the next half an hour. We're not going to solve the world, we're not going to solve the planet, but what we are going to hopefully try and do is show how business is being transformed by the power of design. So there's a number of different activities that we hope to be able to share with you over the next 30 minutes. So before that, why are we here? What is the purpose of Panasonic being here at such an incredible event? The main thing is actually that we really want to truly engage with the design industry. We want to make sure that we are engaged in really important conversations that can really make a difference. And that is underpinned by this more responsible future. And hopefully our introduction, which Take will share now, gives a little bit more insight into how we think Panasonic can actually do that.
Great.
The power of design is something which is fundamental, though. I know we've heard this already quite a lot today, the power of, but the power of design, we're no longer talking about the creation of objects and things. We're talking about distilling the process that lives behind the creation of process and things, and using that in slightly more interesting ways that helps business leaders make a significant difference.
So instead of talking about design as a function to create a beautiful object, how do we best use the design process for organizations to transform? That's what we'd like to talk about today.
Great. So let's kick off. So yeah, Take is going to share a little bit about Panasonic.
So good afternoon, everyone. Well, first of all, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to World Design Congress to giving us this opportunity to speak in front of such a diverse and inspirational group of people. So Panasonic was founded in 1918 by Konosuke Matsushita, who is known as one of the best business leaders in Japan. And from the very beginning, his mission was super clear, which was to devote ourselves to develop a better society and also a better well-being of people. And for us to do that, of course, we need to always have sustainability or the idea of green transformation at core of our activity and also discussion. And in Japan, Panasonic is actually everywhere compared to in Europe. You go anywhere, you see Panasonic product, but also like social life infrastructure. So people recognize Panasonic as an infrastructure brand, if you like. Since we joined Panasonic 7 years ago, we've been asking the same question to so many people from different generations, regions, and country. And do you know Panasonic? Do you know what Panasonic is? And actually, we realized that for many of you, or sometimes most of you, the first image that you could think of when you hear the name Panasonic was old TV. sitting in your parents' house or sometimes even grandparents' house, which isn't a reflection of what we are actually now. Yeah. And we have actually started our business with a single lighting attachment solution, which is made of recycled material. And now the company has grown into much larger scale, delivering a holistic portfolio of solutions that spans both business and home life. So I don't know how many of you have been to Japan before?
Quite a few, yeah.
It's always makes me happy to see people coming to Japan. Thank you for that. Or if you've been to Japan, I don't know if you remember the logo on the security gate at Haneda Airport. Of course, we don't remember such thing, but that's Panasonic. So Panasonic is really everywhere in Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, sometimes we describe it as almost being a brand like air. Kind of you're living it, you're breathing it. You don't see it, but it's fundamental to make sure that you get a really good quality of life. And as Take shared, everything from energy solutions through to housing solutions, still consumer electronics, heating, cooling, many, many different things. So when we think about design for planet or impact, we have the capability, we think, to try and make that big significant change in the world.
But the very important thing here is that there's a very limited thing that Panasonic can do alone. So we are here to reintroduce ourselves to have a much better understanding or recognition or the perception of Panasonic as a brand. We are not consumer appliance brand only, but we are putting lots of effort and resource into green transformation.
Yeah, great. So next, how are we actually using then design to transform the business? I think what we've, just to firstly introduce, is that Panasonic Design in itself is a global entity. It lives across many different continents, many different time zones. Sort of the sun never sets on Panasonic Design in some extent, from New York, London, Kyoto, Shanghai. But in terms of the process that we've been able to use to try and transform business, there's these three fundamental pillars: diversity, fluidity, and unity. Diversity is about how we're creating the design process to be a much more diverse business tool. Fluidity is how we're actually using design as a function to fluidly share knowledge throughout the company. And finally, unity. So how we actually unite people around a coherent, consistent North Star, or vision, as we call it.
Now, for us to make our business more relevant to the society, like social challenge that we are facing now, we joined Panasonic to transform design division first to then give an impact to a business transformation. So first, process diversity. So within Panasonic Design now, we have this 4-step design process: insight, strategy, and creation and storytelling. And traditionally, a company like Panasonic has a large in-house team, but they are mainly focusing on creation, making things, making products, making new applications, and so on and so on. But we introduced this idea of insight, strategy, and storytelling to have much wider contribution within the business. But then we first introduced this idea to more product development, but we soon realized that these 4 steps can be totally applicable for business transformation at scale. So insight is all about how do we best discover the insightful opportunity. And strategy is how do we turn the opportunity into a business or social impact. And then how do we best bridge the imagination gap by visualizing the hypothesis or creating the actual solution or physicalizing the tangible experiences.
So this is really important. When design is coordinating and working with other business leaders, whether that's in technology or marketing or HR or whatever division, we sometimes as a design industry can imagine what that future is, but sometimes we're working with those different types of people, those different brains. We need to actually help visualize that. And as we say, we call this imagination gap.
Which drives this internal discussion, which is so important. We believe that design process can be used for that reason to drive discussion forward within the business. And finally, how do we best share the end result internally and externally in a most convincing way?
Yeah, great.
So next one is knowledge fluidity. So one of the issues that we witnessed many years ago was that Panasonic Design was somewhat a little bit isolated at that time. And actually that was criticized as an isolated product development base from a few business leaders. So we were very keen to change that because collaboration is a key for design process. So when we were designing a Kyoto office back in 2018, we intentionally, purposefully dedicated top 2 floors as open space for everyone, internally and externally. So now it's a platform for meaningful conversation with internal, external expertise, which enable us to deliver carefully considered value propositions.
Yeah. So the actual building itself almost represents this funnel of open dialogue space for conversation and facilitation with experts. And as you sort of go down those different levels, you're getting a little bit more secret, a little bit more confidential. But as Takehiro said, it means a more consistent, coherent output that is around more responsibility.
So instead of spending too much time thinking about what design should be, design could be that, and then show to some of the business unit to say, that's not right. We wanted to have a much earlier discussion in this open space. What about this in a very early stage, even like insight or strategy phase, before start talking about creation, for example.
Yeah, great.
And when we say expertise, it's not just a creative at all. It's a business, people from business and technology divisions as well. And if you ever plan to come to Kyoto, as I said earlier, this top floor is open for everyone. So please give us a shout. We love to invite you for further positive discussions, but also you can enjoy the view of Kyoto, especially in the nighttime. So the last one is the vision unity. Of course, in Panasonic design, there are lots of exciting, meaningful discussions. But then what we thought was missing was this clear framework, which brings those discussions into a very clear direction. Even if you have a very rich discussions, if there's no scope or the framework, it just gets time-consuming in a way. So like in any other businesses, if you look at midterm, often the idea for midterm is the extension of current business or current solutions. But what's really important here is to creating a future vision with uncompromised value by talking to lots of external people, internal people, and seeing what's going on outside Panasonic to really see what's the vision that we can actually deliver as a social desire, which nicely aligns to our founder's vision.
And once again, the important point to mention here is that this vision has to be something beyond Panasonic. We can't just do this on ourselves. If we're talking about trying to make this true global impact, we truly have to engage other people like yourselves in this conversation, but also the other industry. This is a humanity issue. This isn't just a Panasonic business issue that we're talking about here.
And by us doing that, now we can bring new propositions emerging from a future vision. What's most important here is the next slide. Then we can now identify the gap between this future-driven solution and a forward-casting solution, and identify the gap in between these two. Then we can having a discussion with business unit, technology unit, marketing people to really challenge ourselves. How do we maximize our social impact without having a kind of compromise, knowing what's happening in the current business, for example?
Great.
So this is a type of example that we visualized a few years ago about this uncompromised future vision. So again, like we were saying earlier, design process isn't just about creating a final deliverable. We can use visualization skill or facilitation skill to drive discussion forward within the business.
This is almost like the creative edge of design that does live on the side of our knowledge of process of insight, strategy, creation, storytelling. But this kind of creative edge allows us to visualize quite well as well. And this is what bridges that imagination gap. I think that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So that gives, I guess, a little bit of an idea of like the inner workings of the types of processes that we're doing at Panasonic. But importantly, what is our alignment to this bigger mission that we're here today for, the Design for Planet? Panasonic has its own initiative as well, as I'm sure many of your businesses do as well. But Panasonic is Panasonic Green Impact. And Panasonic Green Impact is looking at these three different levels of how we influence society by reducing carbon emissions, by promoting more of a decarbonized society. And hopefully you get the sense of scale as Panasonic is that we can make that significant change. So at the heart, of course, we're looking at reducing our own emissions, we're reducing our customers' emissions, we're trying to reduce society's emissions. These are the standard. But I think one thing that we're positively excited about is actually this fourth pillar, which is just influence. Actually, how do we positively influence other people through the voice of Panasonic to try and do similar things, similar activity as what we're trying to do? And vice versa, we're trying to be influenced by other people too.
Like today, by introducing ourselves as a green transformation, the company who is really keen to the green transformation. Likewise, we'd like to invite you to part of our discussions and activity as well, so that we can together make positive impact to the society.
Great. And once again, this idea of design, it's still living within those different layers, those different pillars of the Panasonic Green Impact Initiative. And almost being there, I think we sometimes underestimate our skill set of facilitation I think facilitation within these different types of conversations is really important. We do a lot of workshops, whether that's in London, whether that's in Japan, whether it's in Europe. We're sometimes just there to encourage the conversation to try and make the best possible outcome that we possibly can at that moment. So yeah, we are very enthusiastic and passionate in trying to be at the heart of these different types of conversation. So now where actually do we see the impact of our activity? So we've shared a bit of like what our mission is, what Panasonic represents today, where our transformation of business has happened, and then Panasonic Green Impact. There's obviously many different types of things which I would love to share with you, but in the essence of time, there's 3 key sections which hopefully are relevant. The first one is actually how we're designing more caring processes for better quality solutions, and can share the initiative that lives behind that at Panasonic. The next one is designing holistic systems, which is about circular economy, obviously big buzzword within not just the design industry, but economically as well. How do we make that work? And then the last one is designing clean energy for carbon neutrality. So 3 big topics, 3 big conversations, which are, I guess, a little bit more than what just a TV brand can do. So the first one, let's kick off. So designing caring processes. So the key question here is how can we redefine or best communicate the value of quality to society? Historically, people just really saw quality, once again, in that end product. But of course, we know that we're having to transform the inherent systems of a business to make sure that quality is captured throughout the entire process. So at this point, we ask ourselves a really fundamental question. What is the new meaning of quality? And the new meaning of quality for us here at Panasonic is the process itself. It's actually how do we use design to encourage things like refurbishment, design for peace of mind. We're talking about like if you design a product that lasts for a very, very long time, people are confident and more trustworthy of you as a brand, which is fantastic. And also things like design for refresh. So actually within the design process, getting in the systems to actually clean and update the product as well.
And we believe that by society having a better idea of quality, we can be more careful with how we make things or how we maintain things, and we can be more we can bring more care to the planet as a result.
Yeah. So this within Panasonic is aptly named Panasonic Quality. And this is a really important way for us to be able to communicate to everyday customers the process that lives behind the products that they're consuming, that they're buying. And I've got a short video, which I'd just like to share with you. So that's a video from one of our factories in Shizuoka in Japan. But particularly proud, I think when we see this, is just the underlying care and attention that goes into every single part of this process, which is essential when we think of making impact. Great. The next one, holistic systems for circular economy. So here, obviously, us as an industry, we are aware of what circular economy means. We're also aware of the challenges that it takes to make a circular economy. But as I say, for people who are simply just the public, it is a bit of a buzzword. What does it mean? What is the impact that I can make through the activity or the behavior that I do at my home? So a big part of this is actually the recycling function within Panasonic. We want to make sure that we can show the hidden effort that goes on within the process of our recycling plants. And that is actually within a space in Hyogo, which has been constructed back in 2001, called Panasonic Eco Technology Center. And the idea here is actually, how do we capture and communicate the processes behind you just putting in your old air conditioning unit, actually see what journey it goes on. And we think that's really impactful, actually. So as I said, Panasonic Eco Technology Center, the impact is trying to ensure that we kind of try and close this loop as much as possible, that we make sure that it's product to product. We're trying to keep everything within the cycle. And yeah, I think we're really proud that actually since 2001, 20 million units have been recycled. Not many people know this, and I think that is the challenge that we're trying to fix, which we are trying to externalize and make sure outside of Japan as well, the scale and the capability that Panasonic is trying to impact. And once again, on that plus of our Green Impact Initiative, hopefully use this to inspire other companies, other businesses, to also show a little bit of their process so that we can all learn from one another.
Maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, recycling things weren't as exciting as maybe what it is now. But it's almost like our hero now. These people hidden in the process previously are now our hero, and we are so proud of how they are working in such a dedication every day.
And there is another little video. So this is just a little bit behind the scenes. So as you can see, this is absolutely not the beautification of design. This is designing for things to be disassembled easier, almost treating it like the new form of mining, retracting old materials, recycling into new parts, new components.
And we use this facility for educational purpose too. So we constantly invite local community, local school to teach them how to live sustainably.
And finally, the third element is actually designing this world of clean energy for carbon neutrality, something which is incredibly important and essential for the planet moving forwards. How do we design things to be cleaner, more efficient? And this for us, once again, is a very new space. We've got some of our team here actually from this division today who I know would be super keen to speak with anyone who's interested. But how do we best deliver our new energy management business? So we ask ourselves here, once again, the power of design to ignite conversation and to ignite direction. So our new energy business is really complicated. It consists of photovoltaic panels, solar panels, energy, hydrogen fuel cells, an energy management system, and the capabilities of it are absolutely amazing. But it's a very technical subject that we're trying to make world-facing. We're trying to make sure that it's desirable and make sure that people are truly communicated the really strong value of this energy system and the impact that it can make to society.
And it's really took us a few months to fully understand the solution too. We are still learning. They're very complicated. So when we are trying to externalize the rich information, the value that we could potentially deliver, we spend so many months to make sure that what we are saying to the external people are right. And for us to do that, the Panasonic Design London team spent maybe 6 months talking to 40 plus energy experts. And then that was a very interesting exercise that we found a huge gap between what we originally wanted to say and what our customer or business partner wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So that gap was quite critical. So we changed the order, how we talk about stuff, the volume of things that we say to make the communication more relevant to our audience, which is what design process can do.
Yeah. Just truly embedding the design function within this very complicated conversation. And as a result, you can see sort of some of the design disciplines that have been used to realize this. Everything from environmental, spatial design, through to a little bit of branding. How do we actually create the terminology or the name for this solution? We've got things like website, leaflets, even down to the details that sit on an umbrella. So everything that kind of lives in between that vast scale of solutions that best communicates our activity, which is called Panasonic HX. And the HX, for everyone's reference, refers to this idea of hydrogen transformation.
Or using hydrogen to transform society.
Exactly. And this is something in terms of the impact that it's making. Our team is signing things like MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding, with cities like Manchester, who are positively trying to achieve carbon neutrality in the short term. So we are kind of there to try and lay the foundations, lay down the roots for a better, cleaner, more effective society. And hopefully you can see how design has played a really essential role in being able to deliver that.
Great.
So our closing statement. Of course, there's lots of things that we have talked about today. And at the very beginning, we said that we wanted to make sure that we could engage and have conversation with as many people as possible. But we hope that you have learnt about Panasonic, now know Panasonic in a slightly different light. You've learnt how design is not just about the creation of things and objects. Students, I don't know anyone watching this today, here or online, is to understand that you are learning essentially a very powerful process, a very powerful skill that can be embedded within many, many different types of companies.
Not for creation purpose, but insight, strategy, and storytelling as well. Very impactful and meaningful for business.
Yeah. So our closing, just a couple of things. I think the first one is a little bit longer a time ago than said today. This was by our founder, Konosuke Matsushita. Of course, in the existing economic structure of our society, profit is really important. But back when Panasonic was founded, actually the mantra, the ethos is actually any business is there for the betterment of society. If you're not making things better for society, but making money, what are you doing? And I think that's where the mission and value of every company, every design team, every marketing team, whatever it is, if it lives in that world, profit will come. If you are seen to be making things better for society, people will gravitate towards you and they will be desiring your company, your solutions, your brand. So the final point, is obviously to close. The power of design plays an essential role in this mission. If you want to speak with anyone who is passionate and ambitious and enthusiastic about trying to convey that to yourselves even further or to your own teams, you know where we are. We're here in London. And we want to make sure that what we are doing is seen right, seen correctly, and it's not being masked by a slightly different interpretation. So,
Also,
we're
like Rowan
delighted.
said, we really hope that we could somehow change the perception of Panasonic today. And we are here for that reason, because we want to be part of bigger discussion, bigger activity to make better change to the society. So.
Great. Yeah, so as a partner of the World Design Congress today, we are very happy to say thank you very much. And we hope to see you over the course of the day. So thank you.